6 months ago, I would say, if you're not streaming now, don't start unless you meet like a really specific requirements. Like you're super attractive, you have the most amazing personality in the world, like you're just like a one of a million person. But now Twitch has completely revamped their DJ platform, and I have high hopes that this will really change how Twitch works for DJs, because they're going to give them more exposure. They're going to showcase them on the homepage.
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. I found today's guest, Whistleface, in a very unique way. I woke up a few Saturday mornings ago. It was a deep cleaning day, and I was kind of procrastinating, scrolling TikTok, and I stopped dead in my tracks on this live stream, which is something I never do. Honestly, I don't watch a lot of live streams, but the music, it was hitting so good, like so good. It was like perfect for a Saturday morning. And I'm like, what is this? Who is this? So I tuned in and I literally listened all morning while I was cleaning. And, you know, I was interacting with the stream a little bit, which is like, again, like I'm not a big streaming person. So this was, you know, something that blew my mind, that this artist was actually answering my questions. I was like, hey, like, who are you? What is this? And basically what he told me was, I'm a DJ and producer who makes their living full time from streaming on Twitch and TikTok. And it kind of blew my mind because, you know, I was in the streaming game during COVID. I ran a collective called Rooftop Drops, where we were live streaming sets from different rooftops in Chicago for artists who are out of work and couldn't play, you know, in real clubs. And I did not know that the streaming game was still going so strong. So I knew I had to have Whistleface on the show, not only because he's an amazing artist, but because he has been able to fully support himself and not only replace, but exceed his income in his previous corporate job by just streaming on Twitch. So he has a lot of unique insights on how to do that, how it works, what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and some really exciting news about a new Twitch program that is actually going to help DJs. So if this is something that you've considered before, I am sure you will find this episode extremely useful. So please take a listen and share with your friends who also may benefit from listening to this conversation. I found you from your live stream, which is what I would love to talk to you about, but I was literally cleaning my house on a Saturday morning, and I typically never watch live streams. They don't interest me whatsoever. And for whatever reason, I stopped on yours and I was with you for like an hour. So you're doing something right.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So that sounds like it's your bread and butter, but obviously I'm assuming that DJing came first. Talk to me about how you got into DJing and what's your story there.
Yeah. So I was very active in the nightlife scene and going out and being a listener, you know, just somebody on the dance floor. And as I got older, I decided I kind of wanted to be on the other side of things. I didn't want to be the person staying out till 5 every night, but I still wanted to be plugged into the music and the dance community. And when I would go to parties, everybody would be like, hey man, like put some music on for us. They would always ask me, and I was like, there's got to be something there. I've always been into music. I've always liked music. So I just wanted to try. And I kind of went the fake it till you make it route and just made some really simple business cards and just started driving to bars around Louisville and asking to see the manager on a Saturday night, like, hey, I'm a DJ. If you need some work, here's my card. And I did that like 30 times. And then finally got some calls. And Louisville is we're like 10 years behind everybody. So it's like the top 40s and rap and hip hop bars. So that's kind of how I cut my teeth. I just wanted to get any work I could to get experience. I knew I wanted to be in electronic music and house music, but I had to learn the basics of DJing and reading a crowd and all the things that go with that. So I started with just like trap and hip hop and just, bar and pub stuff. So that's how I got started.
Yeah, I remember when I asked you on the stream, I said, "Where are you located?" And you said Louisville. I was like, "Say what? Like, there's a scene there." So, how long ago was that you started handing out your business card to bar owners?
Yeah, it was about 9 or 10 years ago.
Okay, I think that is the best fucking way to get any job. To be honest, there's an approach to it. Like, don't be annoying, but showing up in person, I feel like you're gonna get. Even today, you're going to get somewhere 10 times faster than just mindlessly sending emails.
Right. Yeah, I think you leave like a tangible memory in their mind. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen and not the camera. You create a memory in their mind versus you get a message on Instagram or in your email like, "Hey man, I want to come play at your show or I want you to listen to my track." It's different than somebody comes into your venue and, shakes your hand and says, "Hey, I'm so and so and here's what I do." And that little bit extra effort, I think, just pushes you over the finish line because they got there's, as you know, there's unlimited DJs to choose from now. So you got to make yourself stand out somehow.
Yeah. And also busy people are looking for like a shortcut to getting what they need done. And for me, if I need like a subcontractor for something I'm doing or whatever, the person who's top of mind is the person who I met in real life. There's a direct connection and it's easy. And so, what you did by showing up to those places was you made it pretty easy for them to put a face to the name, get in touch with you, all of those things.
Right. I think they get in the DJ world, there's a problem with, I don't want to say incompetence, but, not showing up or showing up late or causing problems, bringing friends and asking to put them all on the list. And so they can kind of get a idea of what your personality is like too when you introduce yourself. Like, are you professional? Do you present yourself well? Can you speak to me? Are you just some stoner kid? Like, who are you? Do I want to hire you? So I think that like first 5 minutes is what makes, they've made their decision already if they're going to hire you or not. So I agree.
It's so true. And it's really rampant, in the nightlife industry. I mean, you have to have some business acumen if you want to have any sort of longevity in this career. So that's really cool. So, okay. So 10 years ago, streaming was not as popular as it is today, right? I'm assuming.
Correct.
When did that, and before we get into that, explain what you do on all the streaming platforms for people who don't know you.
Yeah. So I stream on Twitch and TikTok, and Twitch is my main stream, and that's where I make most of my income, and that's where most of my audience is. And then TikTok is really like an advertising platform for me because Twitch right now, they're changing things, but right now they're not a very good discovery platform. They don't really push you out to new people, and there's not really any way for people to find you on the platform. Once again, they are changing that, but TikTok, like 70% of my viewers are people who've never seen me before. So it's a great way to find new viewers, find new people, and replace any attrition that you might have. So I stream on Twitch to make my income, and then TikTok is to find new people. And that's what I do and have been doing full time for 4 years now. So
wow.
Twitch is the income source, and TikTok is really how I advertise myself and meet new people and get them to come to my mainstream.
Okay. That's really interesting. I want to break that down further because I think that a lot of new artists are going to be excited to hear. I mean, they know Twitch is a revenue stream, but the fact that you've been doing it full time, like that shows that there actually is opportunity there. But I know it's not easy. So talk to me about when you decided was the right time to introduce streaming into the mix. Like, was it, I need to supplement my income because these clubs pay me, too late or not at all, or what happened?
Right. Yeah, I was in the corporate world for 10 years, and it was in the middle of COVID, and I was sitting behind me, like watching a movie or playing video games or something, and just feeling really burnt out and tired of doing nothing because I wasn't leaving the house. I wasn't DJing anymore. And I was scrolling through my phone on Reddit, and I saw some guy DJing with like 4,000 viewers, and he was terrible. And I was like, wait a second. Like, I'm pretty good. If he can get 4,000 viewers, I can get 4,000 viewers. So I started streaming on Reddit first, and it was called RPAN at the time, or Reddit Public Access Network. It's closed now, but they had this thing where they would take the top, or whatever their algorithm thought was the top stream at the time, and they would put it on the front page of Reddit. And so anyone who was on Reddit, it would be the first thing they saw when they opened their app. And so sometimes I'd have 5,000 viewers or 20,000 viewers. And a friend of mine and myself really got into figuring out how that algorithm worked. And I could get it down to, I would say 9 out of 10 times when I would stream, I would be on the front page of Reddit. And I did that probably 300 times. And so I grew my Instagram that way. And then I started pushing people to Twitch because I couldn't monetize on Reddit. My friend Munch, who runs a nightclub in Detroit called Big Pink, he was instrumental in a lot of this. He said, hey, man, you need to start streaming on Twitch so you can turn this into a career. So I started pushing those viewers from Reddit to Twitch, and that started to make, some decent money there. I did that for about a year, and I was still working at a corporate job doing that too. And I got to the point where I said, if I make twice what I'm making in my corporate job, I'll quit my corporate job. I got there, so I quit my corporate job. And that was in the height of COVID, so it was really good. the income was great on Twitch.
Wow.
So it's not that way now. It's died down a lot, I can tell you that. But at the time, it was really, really, really good income. So I got comfortable with where I was at, decided to quit my job and go full time.
Okay, so lots of questions. First, talk to me about how you monetize on Twitch for people who don't know. What is it Twitch that pays you? Is it subscribers? How does that work?
Yeah. So it's kind of a 2-tier system. There's subscriptions or subs, and that's just you subscribe to the channel. It's like any other subscription platform on a social media website. So there's some kind of benefit to get with it. On my channel and most other channels, like you don't have to watch any advertisements when you join the stream. You get tons of emotes that are unique to the stream that they can use across the platform. And you can create your own benefits. Like you get a special Discord channel access or something like that. So subscriptions, I think, are $6. And I get 70% of that. Twitch gets the other 30%. And the other form is what's called bits. And that's just Twitch's native currency. So you have people all over the world watching your stream. So you might have somebody in Germany and someone in Canada watching the stream. They have to get a common currency, so they buy bits. You pay $1.30 for $1 worth of currency. So Twitch gets 30 cents. Then they use that money or those bits and they give them to the streamers that they like. So Twitch is currency, and then subscriptions are the main ways you get paid on Twitch.
Okay, so streaming was super popular during COVID. You obviously capitalized on that. I ran a stream with my friends showcasing local DJs who were out of work. And I remember it was a grind, but it was pretty decent for, what we were doing, which was we were not doing it every day. We were doing it on the weekends on occasion. You said it's changed now, and I'm assuming that's because people are, back to real life gigs and stuff like that. So for the skeptics who say, well, I can't get into streaming now because people don't watch them anymore, what's your rebuttal?
Yeah. So I would say 6 months ago, I would say, if you're not streaming now, don't start. Unless you meet like a really specific requirements. Like you're super attractive. You have the most amazing personality in the world. Like you're just like a 1 of a million person. Like 6 months ago, I would have said that's the only reason I would start streaming, because it's such a grind. It's so hard. You have to be so consistent. And at the end of the day, you don't make that much money. So you have to just either love it or you just have to love it or be amazing. And like to be at the top of the streaming game, it's really hard. So people don't realize that going in. But now Twitch has completely revamped their DJ platform, and that goes live, I think, August 1st, so that there will be an actual DJ category on Twitch, which will bring more eyes to that category. Previously, DJs were kind of hid on the platform. You couldn't really find them. They were never showcased on the main page. There was no discovery. That's why I use TikTok. And I have high hopes that this will really change how Twitch works for DJs, because they're going to give them more exposure. They're going to showcase them on the homepage and potentially help DJs grow and not have so much attrition. So now I think is a great time if you're going to start. It's a unique time to start because I think literally August 1 or August 8th or the 1st, the new program starts. So
Wow.
I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to be for DJs, but I'm optimistic about it.
That's exciting. Do you think that it was just a purely altruistic move and play by Twitch, or is there a better business reason for that, in your opinion?
No, Twitch they want to maintain their market share. That's the number one place for DJs right now. They don't want to lose that. Even now, there are some DJs who make a ton of money. And if the DJ is making money, Twitch is making money. So they don't want to lose that. The problem with streaming online is the copyright issue and the record labels. And up until now, no online streaming platform has had to deal with the record labels where they get compensated for the music that's played. And Twitch has recently cut a deal with all the major record labels. So now a portion of your revenue goes to paying off whatever song you used. If it has some kind of copyright on it, part of your revenue goes to the record label. So now DJs can actually stream completely legal on Twitch moving forward. So that's really cool. The downside is part of your revenue is now going to be taken and given to record labels. But I'm hoping and I'm optimistic that the new exposure and them pushing the DJ category forward will totally offset that loss in revenue. So that's what makes Twitch unique. You can't legally stream copyrighted music anywhere else on the internet other than Twitch now.
Right. So on TikTok, you use that as a discovery platform, like you said. And I think that it's really valuable for people like me. You know, like I said, I helped run a Twitch stream. I didn't do any of the technical aspects of it because it was a little confusing. I was more the in-person coordinator working with the artist. I have a Twitch account and I also have a Discord account, and both give me hives because I'm just not a super technical savvy. I feel like I was, and then like I hit 30 and now I'm 32, and like my just innate ability to understand technology is starting to peter out. And so, you know, TikTok's great for a lunk like me, you know, to find people like you. So do you have issues with TikTok ever when you're streaming copyrighted music? Do you get kicked off, or how does that work?
No. TikTok is still kind of the Wild West for streamers, and I've never been taken down or gotten any kind of warning or been demonetized there. Every other place like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, if you try to stream there, unless you're streaming extremely underground music, and I play some like records who only have like 5 or 10 plays from SoundCloud, and those will still trigger if they have a sample from a big pop record or something. Instagram will just stop your feed. YouTube will just stop your feed. So TikTok doesn't do that. And I've been streaming there for 2.5, 3 years now, and that's never happened. And I would assume they're not going to change that. I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with TikTok with that new legislation that's supposed to go into effect. So that's also up in the air. But yeah, as of now, there's no issue streaming on TikTok at all.
Yeah, that's like one of the things I love most about house music is recognizing a really obscure, like a sample in a really obscure track. And I'm like, oh my God, like they're sampling Tony Braxton right now. But then I see how that can be a problem from a streaming perspective. And yeah, when I saw your live stream, I went and grabbed my old phone and opened Shazam because I don't know if you can Shazam and TikTok live stream at the same time, but I was trying to Shazam a lot of stuff.
Tracks.
Yeah, they were not coming up. So, yeah, you have some deep cuts that you play that are just incredible.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I try to find good ones, but once again, the algorithm somehow, it always finds you and takes you down if you're not on TikTok or Twitch. So.
Yeah. So, okay. So I took the journey from your TikTok page to your Instagram, and I was surprised to see something completely different, which is memes. And they're great memes, and they're very relatable. And I think I might have a hunch why you use Instagram in that way. But I will say it's very difficult to, from a marketing perspective, not railroad just the same content everywhere. Like, you are literally treating each platform as its own unique thing. And that is like, you're in the upper echelon when it comes to marketing, doing that. So talk to me about that decision, why memes was your route. And is that difficult to make completely original content for Instagram?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the reason I went with memes is because it's easy content. So as you know, DJs are no longer, or music producers, DJs, whatever, we're no longer primarily music producers or DJs. We're content creators that happen to make music. And if you're not making content, no one's going to hear your music. So all of my social media content that I put out is just layered marketing, where I'm presenting you with something that you might find value in or funny, and then I'm putting my song behind it. So you're also hearing my song. So if I give you a funny meme that you want to send to 10 of your friends and it gets 1 million views, well, all of a sudden 1 million people have heard 7 seconds of my song, and maybe, I don't know, a small percentage of them are like, well, this song is awesome, and they go look it up on Spotify or they go download it or whatever. So I'm just trying to sell my music through layered marketing in those videos, specifically because memes are easy to make. I can make one in 10 minutes. I can make the same meme like a month later and have it do just as well or better. So there's a finite number of ideas I have to come up with. They're always relatable. And I think that's the name of the game, is relatable content. Like, people are like, oh yeah, that's me. Or like, oh, this is my friend Sally. Like, I'm sending it to her. This is her. Like, relatable content is so important. And the other stuff that DJs and producers do is just so hit or miss. It's hard. Like, some guys really nail it and some people don't. And I've never been good at that side of things. So memes are just something that's easy for me to do. And I've got a lot of clubbing experience. So,
wow.
Just like thinking about what I felt like or did when I was going to the clubs all the time, and then trying to turn that into an idea to throw on a meme on Instagram.
It's so smart. What did you do? Were you in marketing before you did this full time?
No, I was in renewable electricity. So I worked with companies contracting for electric power, natural gas, wind power, stuff like that.
Okay. So this is really like, it seems like you're saying it's basic, like, oh, it takes me 10 minutes to make or whatever, but these are advanced techniques. So how did you figure this out? Because I think where a lot of people get stuck, whether it's artists or other content creators, is the pressure to constantly come up with new ideas that they don't have time to think about the strategy.
Right. I've always been like a don't reinvent the wheel approach to everything, from making music to DJing to making content. And so what I do, or what I did, was I just followed a bunch of people that were doing well in my category. So like on TikTok, I'd get on and search rave or house DJ, and I would go find the top posts and I would figure out what they were posting. And then I looked at all those and kind of decided what I could make comfortably, like sustainably, because I've been posting for like 3 years now. And after a while, you get burnt out. Even making easy content, you're like, I don't want to post another meme today. You get lazy and it just becomes a grind. So you have to find something that's really easy to do. So I was just looking for easy to duplicate formats that I could apply my experience and relatable experiences to, and kind of settled on memes, like the text on screen, short clips. And just if I was making a recommendation to someone looking for content ideas, I would say do exactly that. Just find your niche and like search for the top videos in your niche, see what other people are doing, and then figure out a way to do the same thing, but tailor it to you and make it unique to you.
Yeah, it's great advice. I had a guest a couple weeks ago, Gosh Father, and he calls it remixing content. So he basically said, take half an hour a week to just scroll, find 5 videos that make you stop and watch, and then save them, and then see how you can remix them.
Exactly.
And that's so smart. And, on one hand, that is how we get a lot of, samey content on social media. But if you're putting your own spin on it, there are no true original ideas at the end of the day, right?
Right.
So I think it's great advice. So is this what most people know you for? Like, because I remember you, I don't know if you said this in a piece of content or it was on your stream, that you don't do live gigs as often. Is that true?
It is true. So I do a show here in Louisville once a month, and I've been doing that for the past 3 years at a spot called Galaxy Bar. It's a great spot. I have a really good relationship with them. I've known the manager for like 15 years before we were in music or nightlife. And so we just have a really good relationship, and it's easy to do shows there because we just get along so well. I get paid on time. I show up, they give me a really good price. So I had an agent for about a year, and I think she just really struggled to find gigs for me. I was trying to find more stuff, and it just didn't. We were planning on doing like 12 or 15 shows last year and ended up doing 0. So I did a show in Chicago. I did a show, 3 or 4 shows in Detroit, and I did something down in Florida. And those were all things that I found through people I knew. Like up in Detroit, Munch or Maher, who owns Big Pink, I knew him, so I got to go do that. He knew the guys at the listening room. So it was like a who you know thing. So I didn't end up doing shows because I didn't have anybody to, reach out to talent buyers and sell them on who I am, really. And she might have been working really hard to do that, but since I'm so not well known, I think it's a hard sell for people. So it wasn't really by choice.
Not well known, I don't think is the right way to put it, because you have a lot of followers on Twitch and you have a lot of people that are recurring viewers of your stream. So I think it's different, and it's interesting that you've kind of carved this path where you're able to sustain yourself from being an artist online, because we are in no short supply of DJs, like you said, and gigs are still scarce compared to the supply. And I think that is changing with, the genre becoming more popular, but it's a really interesting, other avenue. Now, let me ask you personally, do you want more in-person gigs, or are you happy with this path that you've carved for yourself?
I would like to do more stuff. If it makes sense, I've always wanted to do stuff in major cities. I was trying to get out to LA for a while. I'd love to go back to Chicago. Love to go back to Miami. I'd like to go to New York. I mean, one of the most common comments that I get in my streams are like, when are you coming to my city? And it's reassuring because people want me to come play in their city. But at the same time, it's annoying because the answer is always no. I can't just come to your city and play. Somebody has to book me. They have to pay me to be there. I need a talent buyer or a promoter who believes in me and will spend the money to get me out there. I can't just show up in Dallas and play a show. So I would like to do more stuff like that, but it's, as you probably know, it's 99% of the industry is who you know. And if you don't know the right people, you're not going to get shows. If you know the right manager, you can literally have no songs released anywhere on the internet and you can get a ton of shows. Or you can have songs with millions of plays on every song, but not know the right people and get 0 shows. So I don't think I play the who you know game well enough is my problem.
Do you feel like your geographical location has anything to do with that?
Probably, because I can't go have those face-to-face interactions with people like I did here when I was first getting DJ jobs. I can't go to the big clubs. I can't walk into space or make friends with the guys and try and get an opening spot there. I can't do that here in Louisville. But I think I could have overcome that, though, if I had pushed harder to play the who you know game and had really leveraged those things. I have a personal difficulty with just trying to leverage things from people. It doesn't feel natural to me. I'm not as cutthroat, I think, as you need to be to really get the shows that you want to get as a DJ. You have to really be pushy and put your foot in the door, and you have to be willing to do that. And I just want it to happen naturally. I want an agent or venues or events to come to me and say, we really want you on our show. I don't want to be begging people to play shows. I don't have to because my income comes from streaming, so I'm blessed because of that. if I wasn't streaming, I would probably be more willing to go do the gross stuff.
Yeah. It's an astute observation, and I really relate to you from like a content creator perspective. And there are some artists that I know, and even some I've had on this show, that are really good at everything that you just said, just being boisterous and confident to the point where I know it rubs some people the wrong way, but they're getting these gigs because they're shameless. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just, it is hard for most people to be that way. And, they say fortune favors the bold. And I think it also comes down to, like, if that's just not conducive to your personality, your path just may be a little bit longer to get to where you want to go. That is what I've told myself, at least, because it's the only way I can stay sane.
Right. Yeah.
And taking accountability for the fact that, hey, it's not because, so-and-so might be better than you at what you do or whatever it is. It's because they have the balls to go be cringy and do what they need to do.
Right. I completely, I agree. Yeah.
I think that some of the most talented people I know are they're the most timid people I know too.
Right. They're in a basement somewhere making like what should be the number one record in the world, but no one will ever hear it because they're not going to go out there and put it in everyone's face like they should. So,
yeah. I mean, you look at top 40. Some of the dumbest fucking music in the world is popular. It really is. And you think
Absolutely.
To yourself, not to like yuck anyone's yum, but you think to yourself, and not to take away from top 40 artists who obviously work hard too. I don't know their story, but you're just like, how is this? It's like the lowest hanging fruit possible. This is what is getting, is what's on, in people's, AirPods around the world. It's crazy.
No, I completely agree. The pop phenomenon, I mean, I've used that route in a lot of my memes too, of like, once you discover house music, you never go back to the normie club or the
Yes.
I call them NPC clubs.
Yeah, oh my
how
God,
can you
yeah.
go listen to the same stuff that you would hear when you turn your car on and pay to get into this venue that's playing, Taylor Swift and Drake mashups for 4 hours? Like, how is that enjoyable? And I think people just don't realize that there's a whole nother world out there of like more original and dance and community inducing music, that like really makes people want to have a good time, not just the same thing they hear all day in the car. And NPC clubs and NPC music, I think it's just people don't know. They have to be put on in some way or introduced to it, and it takes time. And but I think most people, when they're exposed to the right music or the right community, eventually they abandon. That's why the house is so big in some of the bigger cities, because a lot of people really catch on to it.
Absolutely. I'm going to admit something that I have not yet admitted, and maybe I'm a piece of shit for enjoying this, but whatever. So for whatever reason, like up until a couple weeks ago, until I found your stream, I really wasn't watching TikTok live streams, but there has been a trend in DJs at in podunk cities, like we're talking like small town Indiana, live streaming from the bars and clubs that they're playing sets at. Have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And the people know they're being recorded too. So that's why I feel a little bit better about it. But like you were saying, like the Taylor Swift to like Drake mashups and people just going crazy. They actually kind of look like they're having a good time, but I just like, there is no comparison, of what the house music experience is versus that. But you said NPC, and that's immediately what I thought of, is those streams. Like there's this one DJ, I don't remember his name, but he always puts live from the Weird Bar. And like everybody who goes there has a nickname. Like people are called like, oh, Crocs is back, or like,
the chat talks about the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah. And that like, but it's actually very, I think it's not as like ruthless as you think it would be. Like everybody's actually like rooting for.
Kind of playful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I hope Crocs pick somebody up tonight or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay. I have to ask a little fun question before we wrap up. Speaking of live streams, I'm sure you get weird comments because it's just like the nature of live streams. Is there anything that stands out? What's like the weirdest comment or weirdest thing that's ever happened to you while you've been on a live stream?
Oh man. 4 years, and it's like so many people that I've streamed for, especially on Reddit. There's just too many. I don't know. It's just exactly what you would think. Just people being overtly sexual or weird on purpose, just trying to get under your skin. That stuff just happens all the time. And eventually you get used to it. So I don't really see it. It's just noise. It's like living next to the train. You don't hear the train anymore. It's just like, I just see it and it doesn't register and I don't react. I'm like, there's another weirdo. So you get used to it. I think when people first start streaming, they kind of get shook by that stuff, especially if someone says something negative, like, oh, it's like, this, a lot of people, will come into my stream and be like, oh, he's not really DJing. It's all pre-recorded. Or, man, this guy's like my grandpa, like, because I'm older, I'm not a 20-year-old anymore. So they will try to get under your skin. If they see that they do, they will really go after you. So a lot of people make the mistake when they start streaming of like showing that they're, yeah. And these people are just, miserable people that are having a terrible day. And once you realize that, you just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, any weird thing you could imagine, I've had it said to me 1,000 times. And that's without getting too graphic, that's the best way to put it. I've had people send me the weirdest stuff, like on Discord, like, just gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Are you getting dick pics?
I've received those, but yeah, I'm like an overtly trusting person, and I had a great upbringing, and really, until I got into college, really thought like most people are good people, and like everybody's has good intentions, and like people don't do bad stuff all the time, right? And then I like grew up and realized that wasn't the case, but I still have that habit of like just trusting people to be like a normal. As long as I'm treating them well, I expect them to reciprocate that. But no, people just go out of their way to do weird, gross stuff. So I stopped like opening messages.
That's very smart. Being online strips away a lot of humanity. Right. It's, people act a certain way online that they wouldn't in real life. And, I was a TV news reporter at one point in time, and I left the industry. I left the news business in 2018, but it's very similar to DJs because we're not like, I wasn't a celebrity, but I was very locally known to the TV market I was in. And so people would have like a parasocial relationship with me, sometimes full on conversation. They'd be messaging like my news page, full on conversations with themselves. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And, probably just like you, the full gamut of all the weird shit that you could get in your inbox. And I remember there was one point where I was getting some really like borderline getting aggressively creepy messages from a local firefighter. And I never met him in person, but I was at a fire that was happening and I found him and I approached him in real life and I said, listen, motherfucker, I will make sure you lose your job if you don't stop. And I scared the shit out of him. And that was it. Cause of course in real life, he wasn't going to say all the things that he was messaging me, at 11:07, right after I got off the 11 o'clock news. So, that's definitely,
I get it.
I guess that's like a cautionary tale, to wrap this up. Anybody who wants to get into streaming as a revenue driver, just be prepared for all of that nonsense.
Yeah, I would say while you're streaming, negativity and weird comments, you just ignore that stuff. But if you're posting content, that stuff is really good for you. Like negative comments and controversial or whatever it is, like not for you to respond to, but for the other people viewing your videos to respond to. Like the worst comments, I just leave them there because I know somebody else is going to see them and respond and start a conversation. So just treat them as an asset. And yeah,
I love that.
Recommendation.
It's great advice. This has been really insightful. I know a lot of artists are going to find this valuable. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Nice to meet you, Olivia.
It's so nice to meet you. And I will be saying your name to anybody in the Chicago market who will listen.
Thank you.
So we can get a live performance. Otherwise, I have to drive through Louisville to get to some places that I have to go sometimes. So maybe someday I can catch you. It's Galaxy Bar, right?
Yes. Let me know. We'll get you in there.
Now, if you guys are interested in exploring Twitch as a potential revenue stream, I highly recommend checking out Whistleface's profile because he's mastered the art of simultaneously DJing and responding to comments. That's a big part of his streaming experience. He's not just standing there spinning dope records, he is also interacting with his fans. And I can't imagine that that's easy because those comments pour in like by the second, and not all of them are productive. So you have to kind of sift through and see which ones are worth responding to. Obviously, that's something that takes practice. He's gotten very good at it. So I highly recommend you checking out his stream because it is a thoroughly enjoyable experience, and I think you'll learn a lot. Now, by the way, if monetizing your brand via streaming, social media, subscription services, if that's something you're interested in, we have an entire panel focused on that at Chicago Music Nexus happening on November 23rd. Now, pre-sale is over, but general admission tickets are available on our website, chicagomusicnexus.com. That's chicagomusicnexus.com. I will have that linked in the show notes. Your ticket includes access to 4 panels, to networking sessions, and delicious food and beverages, both alcoholic or non-alcoholic, whatever you choose. That's all included in your ticket. We are so excited. I cannot believe we began planning this event back last December, and we're pretty close. So don't miss out. Get your tickets. Spots are limited. We picked a small venue for a reason. We only want people there who really want to be there. So again, chicagomusicnexus.com. It's linked in the show notes. I can't wait to see you guys there. And as always, I will talk to you next week.